Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you today to my lecture. So today I say that 60 is new 40 and 40 is new 20. The opportunities for sustainable self-development in this roaring 20s of the 21st century. Okay, let's consider Russia. For the historic reasons, in Russia we have two demographic bubbles. One bubble is 60, and the other bubble, the concentration of people, average age of 40. This is a big difference compared to the European demographics, where the demographic pyramid looks like a triangle. In Russia, it's not a triangle. In Russia, this is like two groups of many people. That is 40, around 40, and around 60. Now we are starting the roaring 20s of the 21st century. So what are the roaring 20s? Well, the roaring 20s describe the 1920s. And in the 1920s, an unprecedented economic boom happened. Well, what did it look like? The products and services which early in the 20th century used to be available only to the rich, like the car, the telephone, the radio, the fridge, the vacuum cleaner, and many other usual goods. Well, in the early 1920s, they were available only to the rich. And within the 1920s, a kind of radical democratization of the luxury took place. The goods, which used to be considered luxury goods, and the services, which used to be considered luxury goods in the early 1920s, by the end of the 1920s, these same products and services, which were for the rich in the past, became for everyone. So anyone could afford the products and services by the late 1920s, the ones which in the early 1920s were available only to the rich. This means that the US business, the Western business, they started concentrating on democratizing the luxury, meaning on providing the services and goods which are not just of high quality, but rather changing the quality of life of the usual client, the usual consumer. And now, in the 2020s, we can see the same effect. It's happening now. Just imagine, 10 years ago, that for a usual person to have a personal driver at any moment of time. Now, you have Yandex Taxi for this. Well, just imagine, 20 years ago, having a personal DJ, the DJ who would play your music as you wish, any time, anywhere. Now you can use Yandex Music, Spotify, and many other things for this. So in every field of life, we can see access to the products and services of an unprecedented quality level, transforming people. Well, not only transforming services, but the products and services transforming the human beings for the better. So people become more clever, stronger, healthier, richer, kinder, and so on and so forth. So the goods and services which make us cooler as human beings. So they are coming in this decade. Okay, for the business, the way to grow in the 2020s is not developing the business, but rather developing the customer, the consumer. And this is the growth opportunity, the growth path. And this is especially true for the elderly. Okay, the challenge for the business in Russia, in the US, in Europe for the next 10 years. Okay, in healthcare, this is not just treating diseases. Well, treating diseases was good for the last century. Now we want the healthy person to become super healthy, a superhuman being. So this is democratization of luxury for the next 10 years. So we're not treating diseases. We are making our healthy people healthy, and not just healthy, but those who feel better than when they were born. So these are the technological opportunities to augment the people and not only service the people. Okay, let's look at the banks. In Europe and in the United States, all the large banks have huge departments for the elderly. And the goal of the banks is not just to service the pensioners, but to convert them into financially literate clients who can increase their financial well-being. For instance, the Barclays Bank in the UK has continuous sessions everywhere teaching the elderly how to use their computers and how to make money using computers and digital tools. The Western banks have some other people who are focused on the economic issues of the banking services to make these banking services more available for the elderly. So these are age-friendly banking approaches. So all the services and products online with the huge font, simplified iPad versions for the apps with the simplified instructions and extra information and explanations on what these things really mean. So we explain the digital era using the language understood by those who were not born in this era. We're not using chatbots, we're using human beings. So they hire people to call centers. They hire the elderly people for the call centers because they can understand the issues, the problems, the ambitions, and the threats and opportunities of those who are 75. So the 75-year-olds work in call centers. The fitness clubs in Europe are focused on the elderly. So the fitness clubs, they take it this way. They say that exercise is the best medicine for those who are 65 plus. Since this is continuous movement, it can replace a lot of expensive medical service, medicines, and so on. So that's why the fitness clubs are focused on the elderly. They have the elderly coaches. You remember the call centers will have people aged 75. And in the fitness club, we have people who are 65, 70, or 80. And they deal with people of the same age to maintain and improve their muscles and mental health. And so these coaches are selected for the elderly because it's easier for the elderly to deal with the elderly. The corporate clients, the employers, now they're building these many fitness clubs for the elderly within their facilities or offices, so that the elderly shouldn't be forced to go to a club somewhere. So they go before, after the working hours to this gym, and the coaches are paid for by the employer. And the employer asks, does your mother go to the gym? This is extremely important. Okay, education. Okay, we are now understanding, at least in the West, that education starts when the kid doesn't know how to walk and ends when the person cannot walk anymore. So education is for life. And our governments, and a very good example is the government of Singapore, they understood that should finance education for life, lifelong learning. And the elderly should be ready to learn new things, and they can do it pretty well in Russia. They're especially ready, the elderly. They are ready to learn the new things, and they're ready to learn some specialized things. For instance, in Ireland, the government of Ireland introduced the first introductory course for pensioners on advanced programming. They had 900 positions. 28,000 people applied for these 900 places. Singapore developed a national campaign called Skills Future. The idea is that everyone in Singapore, irrespective of the income, family situation, or health situation, or age, so they all receive this. So a 70-year-old Singapore citizen can learn and develop just like the 15-year-old one. I hope that these examples are interesting. Thank you very much for your attention.